Alpha Dawg, and I've got a special broadcast. We have a broadcast at all. Uh, for some reason, our carrier didn't post on LinkedIn or Facebook or uh, Twitter or any of our channels. So let's hope we're on today. Bobbie, check it out for us there, would you please?
I sure will, sir. I'll do that right now.
Okay, we've got our technology expert checking out to be sure
Just
we're live.
so
Are we
ironic.
live on the internet?
We're live.
Where are we?
I am looking at us right now on the Jim Ziegler Facebook page, the James Ziegler one. And I am
really?
cross-referencing the other ones currently.
And
Hey.
mine went live too. So
Yep. We are live
Okay.
in the group we shall not name.
Okay, yeah, we are live. Look at us. Okay. The Dawg Pound is live. Today we're going to talk about. Okay, hang on. We get that off. Okay, today we're going to talk about Amazon and Hyundai. They sold their first car.
ooh.
Yes.
And Automotive News ran a survey, and Hyundai dealers and dealers across the metaverse are kind of concerned. Could this be the first step in direct retailing eliminating dealers? Today, the Dawg Pound Posse is with us, including one of the most brilliant women in the car business, the Empress of Executive Management, Miss Jennifer Briggs.
Hey, Jim, I am very happy to be here today. And, it's going to be interesting to see what happens. And I think that the partnership with Amazon and Hyundai is unique. I don't know. I mean, it's going to tell us a lot what some of these other manufacturers are going to do. But I know, like, I bought a car on eBay like 20 years ago. So
Isn't that
it's
crazy?
possible. Yeah, it's crazy.
You still have it, right?
Actually, my ex-father-in-law still has it.
There you go. Your
I passed it on.
ex-father-in-law. And the curmudgeon himself, much better lighting this week. The Russian Grouch himself, my friend, the reinsurance mogul, Max Zanan.
Listen, it's good to be here. I'm so happy that Dawg Pound is back, because I always say the same thing. Before, we used to have it on Tuesdays, and at the very minimum, once a week, I had to be like at the peak performance. You know what
At
I mean?
least
And
once a
then,
week.
right, and then Jim decided to take a hiatus, right? And I realized that it's not good for my brain, because there was not a single day during the week when I had to be at my peak performance. Now we're back on Wednesdays, and I look forward to every Wednesday.
And
Max,
speaking
I'm really
of
glad that
speaking
know
of
that you're
peak
peak
performance, the queen of BDC. I'm talking about, when you're talking about internet marketing, you're talking about phone rooms, you're talking about internet rooms, you're talking about the queen of business development centers herself. Couldn't be here today, but we did get Bobbie Herron.
There's brilliant people in our space. I would take a second to many of them that I admire.
How you
I'm
doing,
just glad
kid? How you
I'm
doing?
doing good. I'm feeling good that the world knows that Max has performance issues until he hangs out with us, and that we inspire him. And I appreciate that
Yeah,
honesty, Max. I know that
yes.
took a lot of therapy to get there.
Being a Russian, he probably lays around in drunken stupor, sucking stogie all week.
That's pretty accurate. That's pretty accurate.
I learned to drink stogie from a Russian.
Right. But listen,
Yeah.
I switched to bourbon. I switched to bourbon like a decade ago, and I never went back.
I
Well,
got
I
to
was
tell
going to
you,
say, I think being Russian, there's no stupor, right? You might be drinking all day, but it's
I mean,
your
it's in my
handle.
DNA, right? So it's like the gene is there.
when
We
I
love
was
you.
at when I was at Banner Ford in Decatur, Georgia, I had a Russian salesman named Vladimir Nikishin. And I mean, he was like fresh off the boat. It was like he would walk up to a customer and say, "How you go?" How
Audience,
you go?
Max is not really Russian. He's not really a mad Russian.
And that's sort of French. I mean, you know, how you go? I mean, that was, and so Debbie and I went over to his house on a number of occasions. His wife owned a Russian delicatessen, and they would serve caviar, and he had a whole freezer full of Stoli vodka. And he and I would break out that Stoli, and I would hand my wife the car keys.
Smart man. Smart man.
Frozen vodka. So if
Yeah.
anybody knows where my friend Vladimir Nikishin is today, I've lost touch with him. I don't know if he went home after the wall fell, but if you know where Vladimir Nikishin is in the car business, I'm still looking for my friend. Today's subject is Amazon Hyundai. Jose Munoz has made a deal with Amazon, and a lot of dealers are nervous about loss of profitability, direct sales to the public. They sold their first car. Now it was announced last November, I think, and now it's become a reality. So, okay. Okay. Bobbie, tell me about what you think.
I mean, you know me, I'm always interested in something that's different that we're doing or our industry is doing, and looking at it in the beginning. There's a lot of pros and cons there. I know that it's definitely not what's best case scenario for a dealer so far with the way that things are set up. I don't know yet what that's going to look like. So I'm as curious as everybody else to see what kind of path we're going down.
You know, it's amazing. We're talking about drinking vodka, and somebody named Woozy shows up.
I did notice that.
Hello, Woozy.
That algorithm is on point.
Oh, golly. Max, Bobbie gave us a pretty non-committal answer. What do you think?
Yeah.
I mean, listen, guys, if it was a real success, right, they would not do a press release on the only sale they've made so far.
Yeah.
Well, they just
I mean,
launched.
if you look at, but Jim, you look at the magnitude of the reach between Amazon and Hyundai. You would think that more than one person would pull the trigger.
Yeah.
You know, so my gut feeling is telling me that this is a miserable failure.
Oh, no, wait, Max, I got a more.
I'm
news for you.
surprised that Max is saying that.
The one
I
person
know.
that bought the car was an Amazon employee.
Okay.
Right. This is even worse. So this is not even a real sale then. Okay.
How do you, like, my question is, and again, the vehicle I bought 20 years ago on eBay, of course, was a used car, and I paid cash for it. But with Hyundai selling direct through Amazon, how do we handle a trade-in for a consumer? How are we going to handle F&I? How is that going to happen? I know we've got the captive, but let's be honest, that's not always the best rate for the consumer. So is this actually going to be better for consumers? Or is it going to put them and pigeonhole them into, like, you have to do it this way, and there's only one way, you have no options on how you can actually purchase this vehicle? That's my concern.
Well, it goes back to what we were arguing about last fall, a year ago, 2 years ago. Direct sales to the public. The manufacturers have been angling toward the agency model of direct sales ever since the pandemic. There's been a new twist. Now, I was just reading Automotive News, and it was talking about Andy Wright, who is evidently the president or grand poobah of the Hyundai Dealer Council. He's sort of angling toward it's a good thing.
The dealer council president?
Yeah. I'm sort of the Hyundai Dealer Council. So I'm sort of wondering.
And I'm not currently working with any Hyundai stores, so I'm not sure. Like, is this going to be I get to deliver it as the dealer. So I still get to do like they're putting in their cart like we would see on a digital retailing widget on a dealer's website, or is it end to end on Amazon and they just take delivery at their home?
Well, the
What does this
survey
look like?
basically said dealers in Maxwell like this were nervous about losing F&I profits.
Right. Because listen, at the end of the day, right, guys, if you go to the pre-pandemic times, right, I don't think there was a single profitable Hyundai dealer on a front end, right? All the money comes from F&I and from parts and service. So I think the guy that you mentioned, whoever he is he the president of the dealer council?
Yeah. Andy Wright. He
Yeah.
owns Vinart dealerships in Pennsylvania.
Yeah. So Andy, and I'm glad you're recording this because Andy, hear me loud and clear. This career as a dealer council president is going to be very short-lived.
Do you think he's a
Right.
bell cow? Do you think he's a bell cow? You know, the bell cows are the ones that lead the other ones to the slaughter.
Exactly, because listen, other Hyundai dealers are most likely more in touch with reality than this guy, and they understand that you have to have a relationship with your customers, right? And we're talking about a lifetime value of the customer.
Wait a minute, Amazon's very, very, very much relationship oriented. Amazon.
Yeah, but that relationship is with Amazon. It's not with
Right.
the dealer, right?
Yeah,
So
there you go. So
right.
Amazon becomes the dealer, and all of a sudden, the Hyundai has one dealer left. Amazon.
I know
Right.
the name of none of the companies that I buy products from Amazon from. I have subscribe and ship on a lot of things in my house, and I have no clue where they come from other than Amazon.
Right. So I'm hoping that other dealers, will actually exercise their right and remove this guy as the president of the dealer council, because this is not Hyundai. And I know, Bobbie, for the millennial mind, it's like crazy, right? But at the end of the day, right, the lifelong value
There's
of
Bobbie with that millennial mind again.
right, but the
Yes,
lifelong
thank
value
God.
of the customer is for the dealer, because you got to sell them the car, sell them the F&I products, then you got to service it, and then you got to take them out of service and put them on another car, right? So that's the relationship that every dealer wants to maintain. And when you have Amazon insert itself the same way like Cars.com, Auto Trader, Car Gurus inserted themselves between the dealer and between the customer, right, is ridiculous and anti-dealer.
I guess maybe I'm confused because let's see, like I sleep in the morning because I'm a nighttime person. So unless something crazy happened this morning, I'm under the impression that this agreement between Hyundai and Amazon is an elevated digital transaction experience, a lead buying service that still maintains the dealership involvement in the fulfillment of the order. So in my mind, it's somewhere between the old school brokering that was done or demo deliveries, old school, OEM fleet deliveries essentially, and new stuff. But what I will say is, one, OEMs would not be taking things online if we had the ability to actually listen to the customer and deliver an outstanding experience. And that's not just my opinion, that's fact based on all the studies that have been done. But two, a lot of the digital advertising that's done on both the OEM and the dealer's part is a waste of money, and it's done incorrectly. And what I understand Hyundai to have made an agreement to do is use the data-driven services from Amazon. So unless I'm incorrect, this is a elevated lead buying service using data-driven technology and the ease of use of Amazon. And where I see concern with F&I and all that jazz, I get it. But if you're too weak to take a TO on F&I, both before, during, and after, then you got to be able to upsell on a cash delivery. I mean, am I wrong?
Well, and I just, while you were going through, because I wanted to see. So, of course, I opened up my Amazon and it was ready to go since we were just talking about all my stuff. And I'm clicking through, and I just went through and I picked a beautiful blue Tucson, and I'm going through the process, and it says, click to buy on dealer site. And it linked me directly to the Hyundai store in Troy, Michigan.
What?
Yeah.
Yep.
I understand this to be different. And again,
Unless it's
I am
not
on
in
a-
our region.
I'm on a crazy week this week, so I have not been on social and I've not been doing a lot this week. So maybe I've missed something, but I'm not concerned about this because to me, this is another opportunity. And if I was a Hyundai dealer who knew that this was coming my way and that the OEM was going to be doing this, I'm not saying jump on board with things you don't agree with, and I don't know the internal program enough. If any of our audience does, please share with us. If you have insight into how this program is working and you're a Hyundai dealer, share with us how this is working, because that's what it looks like to me. And I don't have a disagreement with online digital transactions. I have a disagreement with when the dealer is cut out of the opportunity, forced to do something they shouldn't, or their ability to make gross on either the front or the back end is smashed and taken away from them. I have an issue with that.
So, Bobbie, you mentioned brokering, right? And I do a lot of business with brokers in New York,
Yeah.
because brokering in New York is
Rampant.
exactly. So what happens in brokering is this: the customer remembers the broker, not the dealer that provided the car to the broker.
I agree with you. Yeah. And I should have said courtesy delivery, not brokering. Those are not anywhere near the same thing. but my
Now,
brain is
Amy
tired.
Shelton on the sidebar says it's just like Costco, who sends you to the dealership nearest to you for any and all participating OEM, not just Hyundai.
Well,
I don't think
Amy-
it's the same apples for
No.
apples. No.
So what it looks like here, it's geolocating me because Amazon knows where it ships all of my stuff to, right? So it's saying I picked the Tucson and it says there are 22 vehicles near me. And then it's letting me actually toggle through the different options and base MSRPs. It does not show me, oh, it does actually. It says at Napleton Hyundai, at Rosen Hyundai. So, but strangely enough, there's a Wisconsin dealer showing up here, and I'm sitting in Lansing, Michigan. So, but it is clicking directly through to the dealer's website. So it's more like if I were going to the OEM's website and building the car and then finding where it's located or ordering it a nearby dealer, except for it's at Amazon.
Yeah, that's my understanding of it as well. And then even doing even a little bit of research from the LinkedIn press releases. Now, again, this is not the first time Amazon has tried to get into vehicle deliveries. So who knows how that's going to go? But like Herbert says on here, and again, this is not to cause a huge disagreement, but if that's the case, why do we need cars? Why do we need AutoTrader? Why do we need cars.com? And let's not say that I'm an advocate for that, because we all know that I'm not. I'm saying, what is the variable there? The OEM sells leads third party through things all of the time. I think why this feels so different is we already have this unknown uncertainty and fear of them trying to get involved in our stuff all the time and to violate franchise laws. And I think that fear is going to stop people from being open to what this possibly could be, what the potential could be. I will tell you that if Amazon just puts a customer to the dealer website, this program is going to fail anyways. That's the whole reason that was a need for it initially, is because there's not a smooth transition for the customer buying experience online in most cases, especially when coming from a third-party lead source and then moving over to the dealership.
But I think the real danger is that, anything that starts out one way evolves into something else, right?
Yeah.
So just because it started out this way, and it does take Jennifer to, a dealer's website, I promise you, there is no guarantee that it will not evolve into something else.
Yes.
Where you'll be able to put the car in the shopping cart on Amazon.
That's the concern.
That's
they've been trying to go direct to the customer for years. And I look at this as another stepping stone to eliminate car dealers, to go to the agency mode.
So Jim, 2 points here. First, the fact that Hyundai decided to do this tells me that there is a long-term agenda. And second, and I know we don't go into politics, but remember when Obama said you can keep your doctor, and then you couldn't?
I kept my doctor.
Okay.
I couldn't.
Right. Thank you. Right. So what's going to happen is that right now they're telling you that, yes.
Obama knew you were a liberal, so he let you keep it.
Right. But right now they're telling you can keep
not
your
a liberal.
dealer. Right. But guys, right now they're telling you can keep your dealer. right? But give it 2 years and they'll say, no, forget the dealer.
Well,
Let's just,
Yeah, but
go into
I
the
just
shop
don't
department.
see how they can do that, Max, because of like what we were talking about with the trade-ins. How are they going to do that without the dealer? How are they going to be able to facilitate, again, other than saying you can only finance through the OEM's captive lending, which, I mean, everyone here has said
There's a
that.
mythology going here, Jennifer. The
Yeah.
mythology is that the dealer gives a damn about customer satisfaction. They don't. I mean, that is the biggest, that's been the axe hanging over the dealers' heads. The manufacturers do so many anti-customer initiatives that the customer does not care about customer satisfaction. And people assume that. That is not true, not with any manufacturer, zero.
I think the customer cares about a convenient experience that's not full of bullshit, and that is what they are led to be expected that it will be. And I think that internally in the dealerships, and remembering that this is my specialty on the show, internally in the dealerships, what happens is you have a disconnect between what is an expectation that's set for a customer and what actually is accomplished for the customer and what they actually experience. And that leads to opportunities like this. That is separate from the lead generating service of this. Like, it looks to me like it was rolled out to 18 different dealers that are on a pilot program. Pilot programs are designed to make changes. Whatever they're doing now is going to be completely different. Where I would be scared if I was a dealer would be if I was a competing dealer that wasn't on this program. And I'll tell you why.
Oh, quit it. You be making so far out there. I'm telling you.
Okay, let me run a scenario past you and you tell me what your thoughts are. So if I know all of your behavior online, exactly what converts you, color, action, the words, the keywords that are used around smart systems in your home, which is not a conspiracy, this is real technology, 10 plus years old. If I know exactly how to convert you into having chicken for dinner instead of steak, and I put everything in front of you that does that, and I know all the inside details, and I know exactly where your eyes move on a screen, those are heat maps. This is old technology, and I'm your competitor. That's smart. And before anybody says, Bobbie, that's crazy, that's what competitors do every day digitally in marketing. The difference is Amazon has tools and power that none of our products have, that have the ability to change an algorithm and serve up exactly what you're looking for. When I say I would be concerned about it, I don't even mean as just a Hyundai dealer. I mean as somebody else. What I'm saying is you're going to need to step up your game in your marketing if you haven't already, and get smarter about it. Because this is a real situation. This is a lead provider service. That's exactly what this is.
Let Jennifer jump in a second.
So a couple of concerns I have as I'm listening and participating, watching the comments and playing with this is, first of all, they're showing a lease with an APR on Amazon. I mean, Amazon, if you're listening, you might want to adjust that for this pilot program.
This is all our opinion.
Against the cars law.
It's all
new
opinion.
cars rules. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, like here it is. They call it a down payment on a lease. And when I click through, so I've went ahead and I've configured one of these cars and estimated the payments. But when I click through to the dealer's website, none of those, well, I shouldn't say none of them. The only place those settings are coming through is in the URL, because they've jacked the UTM tags on it and put all of the terms on how I've configured the deal in Amazon into just the domain. And let's face it, nobody's going to look at that in a dealership for a lead that comes through. And it's totally different than the payment that I'm seeing on the VDP when I land on the website. That's going to create issues for the dealer. And maybe that's the intent, because then they'll be like, well, Amazon said this would be $438. And now you're telling me it's $488. And I'm immediately going to bounce. But I mean, again, pilot program, I do think, will they in the long term try to do this direct and cut the dealer out? Maybe. I don't think that's going to work. I don't even think they know the damn terms on actually how to pencil a payment. Sorry, Amazon, I love you.
Oh, Max, jump in there.
Again, listen, I just have a paranoid mind, right? And if I'm a dealer, the last thing I want is Amazon to be inserted between me and my customers, right? And that's the end of it, you know, because like I said before, it will evolve into something else. And if Bobbie is right, and other manufacturers feel that they're missing out, right, then more and more of them will join the Amazon platform.
Amazon's
And,
predicting by the end of the year, Max, already that more OEMs will join.
and that would be the beginning of the death sentence for the franchise model. And if you think that NADA or state dealer associations or whoever can compete in legal fees with Amazon, you have to be delusional. And Amazon will do the same thing that Uber did, right? Because Uber broke every law in every city against the taxi industry. And they said, no worries, guys, just sue us. We're still going to operate while you sue us. So this is, in my mind, a replay of the Uber playbook.
Well, I just hopped onto Amazon USA.com because I was curious. I mean, not Amazon, Hyundai, if the actual experience in building the car, because the OEM's websites for building out cars are atrocious.
Oh,
So
gosh.
I'm like trying to do a benefit of the doubt. Maybe it's easier for the consumer to move through it on Amazon. And I will tell you, it is definitely took the information from the car I built on Amazon, and it is front loaded on the homepage banner on HyundaiUSA.com. So at least they've got that, but they are also showing APR, and I penciled a lease. So again, some disconnect in that, but I've always told my teams
That's minor technology. They'll fix that.
well, sure, but here's the thing I've told my teams when working leads or opportunities that come from the OEM's website. They have to understand the path that the consumer went through. It takes 15 minutes on most OEM platforms on their websites to build and configure and get a payment on that car. And by the time it comes to us, the customer is already frustrated that it took so long to go through there. The experience is right out of the gate. I've trained my teams forever and ever when they get a Chevrolet.com lead or any OEM lead, the first thing we say is, thank you so much for taking all the time to go through that process. We know that it's cumbersome. From here on out, we're going to do the heavy lifting for you. So is this a way that the OEM is actually trying to backfill in for their shortcomings on their websites?
Anybody?
It's I just find this, I find it fascinating because it's two different sides. I can't stress this enough. One is the ability to purchase a vehicle online. One is a essentially digital retailing, call it what you want. And one is a lead. I hate the word lead. We're using it because we're talking about it, but lead buying service. And so we don't actually even know yet fully which one it is, but to me, it looks like a lead buying service. Is that scary? Yes, if you're not set up correctly and you're not ready to compete and you're not ready to handle it, but it's not any different than any other lead buying service. The only difference is the absolute technology that Amazon has. Like, let me throw you something dangerous here. For example, if you work at any dealership right now, manager, salesperson, BDC, don't care what it is, you know that one of the biggest obstacles to getting a hold of a consumer who sends in a lead is having the correct information, or at least the one they check, right? I have a main email and then I have my junk email. I have a main phone number, then I have a junk phone number, everything goes to voicemail. But you know who we don't lie to? We don't lie to Amazon when we order things, which means it's likely that our real information is being captured. And depending on what it looks like, I'd love for somebody to send in a mystery shop on this and see what it comes through as. Is it from the dealer? Does it signify as Amazon? To see where it's coming into the consumer and what it looks like, because that's the part that could actually be dangerous, is the name recognition.
So I'd like to address this comment. You know, it says that even Amazon is doing retail stores. You can't kill the franchise system. No need to fear.
Of course they
can.
can.
This is a very naive and counterproductive statement. And I use this example over and over again. After the Great Depression, the Glass-Steagall legislation was passed, which basically meant that commercial banks cannot be in bed with investment banks, right? Because that was the trigger for the Great Depression.
Mhm.
And if you fast forward, the Banking Act of, Glass-Steagall Banking Act was passed in 1933. So if you fast forward 66 years, our wonderful president, Bill Clinton, repealed it. And now we're back to square one when commercial banks and investment banks are the same again. So every single law, including the franchise laws, is meant to be broken.
And shortly after the economy crashed in 2008.
Correct. So I just want to urge every dealer and every dealer advocate to understand that franchise laws are not forever and they're constantly under attack.
By the
And
manufacturers themselves.
exactly.
I view this, Max, I view this as Hyundai, Jose Munoz, backdoor direct sales using Amazon. Look, this goes back to the pandemic when everybody fell in love with Tesla and Ford Motor Company, especially General Motors, the domestics. Now Hyundai. First of all, Hyundai is run by Jose Munoz, and I'm not real pleased with the job he did at Nissan. If you look at his track record, this guy doesn't impress me that much. I've invited him on this show, and he's afraid to do that.
Right. Listen, there's another comment here that, what if Amazon buys Carvana or, a company like Vroom? And I think that's also very, very dangerous because used car business, again, if you look at it from the pre-pandemic times, is what really saved the profitability for new car dealers. Right?
Mhm.
So if that's the case, and even though Carvana might have a bad name among the industry insiders, for the consumer, Carvana does not have a bad name. And yes,
but you look at their Max, you look at Carvana's sister store driving sales, and you look at their ratings with consumers and their investigations against them. Same company, same owners. They're not customer friendly. Not
but
the owners.
I don't think consumers are in a position to connect the dots between the two companies, right? So if, again, and I say this, wholeheartedly, if God forbid Amazon buys Carvana, even though Carvana has probably a pretty good reputation in the consumer's eyes, the reputation of Amazon is 10 times better, maybe 100 times better. And to buy a used car from Amazon means that this is a zero-sum game, right? It means that you didn't buy that used car from your local dealer, and that local dealer is going to suffer financially. So now think of it this way. If we go to pre-pandemic gross profit per new car, on the new car side, it's non-existent, right? If the dealer doesn't understand parts and service, then people will go to their competitors or independent mechanics. And then if you take away used car sales, this is when the house of cards is going to fall, right? Because most new car dealers will not be able to survive financially without used car sales.
Right.
How come it's always so all or nothing? We're always so all or nothing. You can buy a used car lots of places that aren't the dealership right now.
Bobbie, we can't stand as an industry for manufacturers, even with a backdoor concept like this, to direct sale to the public.
I'm with you guys.
Direct selling, remember, customer satisfaction, they could care less.
And there are a lot of places to buy a used car. There are a lot of B lots, but I think Max's point, and it's the whole reason that I teach used car centering, is that when we take a loss on our new cars, the way that we compensate for that, of course, is in our used car department in F&I. But if we're losing the opportunity to be able to do that because we're not getting the trades because our OEM is going through some type of director agency program, it's going to just be used. And then are all franchise dealers just then, instead of A franchise, now they're all B lots. which honestly, guys, might be more profitable, but
Oh, I'm going to tell you right now, I'd buy a B lot in a hurry as opposed to owning a franchise dealer these days.
Man,
you know,
right?
mhm.
I think
But
it's
with a nice
important.
service department on it, Jim.
Yeah, no doubt.
I did business. I had my sales manager seminar last week in Atlanta, and I had several independent managers in the class, and they are operating their dealership, their independent store, identically to the way that a franchise dealer operates. And they're much more profitable. They don't have to put up with the factory interference. And I'll tell you, honest to goodness, since President Biden doubled down the other day and said that we have to have half, now we're going from 30% to half of cars have to be EVs by 2030. You know, I mean, that enacted yesterday. I'm going, what's that? You know, excuse me.
Well, that was down from 63% to 50, right? Which still, I
It
don't
was
think
a
is
happy
feasible.
day for Bobbie.
It's always so funny to me because it's, you know, I say this all the time. We joke, we call Max the Russian, we call me the liberal, millennial, whatever. And that can be fine. I stay away from the political part of
We only call you liberal because you're a liberal.
I mean,
Guys, that's not
Look,
fair.
I mean, the thing is, I wouldn't be, truthfully, I would be more ashamed to be so hard coded on one side than I would be to be so open minded. So I'll have a problem with that.
I almost
but-
said something very
but-
inflammatory.
But I will say this is that, and this is one of the things that I take a little bit of slack for on the show sometimes, and I think that's great. I love that our opinions are so differing on these things, and we can have this banter because it allows our audience to be able to do the same thing and do it respectfully. But here's the thing:
I respect your right to be wrong.
That's totally fair. I respect your right to be wrong too. No, I love you. I think sometimes we get so alarmist about things. Like there's such an alarm in our industry about direct to dealer sale or direct to consumer sales, direct to consumer sales, direct to consumer sales, that sometimes we look for things. This is not even a direct to consumer sales product. It's not. And the audience is engaging like it is, and we're having a conversation like it is. And can it turn into
Bobbie,
that? Sure. But
you
it's
have to
not right
understand,
now.
Bobbie, there's a simple fact of life they have to understand. Only
Enlighten
the
me.
paranoid survive. Okay?
Well, let's
And
not
I'll
think
give
that
you-
I'm
and
not
let me give
concerned
you-
about
let me
these
give you
things.
a perfect example of what I mean. So Amazon originally was the #1 bookseller in America.
I
Right?
remember when that's all they sold.
Mhm.
Right. Right. So
Yeah.
Jeff Bezos actually set up a secret team without telling anybody in a separate location, and he tasked them to develop an e-reader because he felt that an e-reader will completely destroy his book selling business. And guess what? They developed Kindle, and Kindle cannibalized his book selling business, but at least Kindle was owned by him.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Well, no. I love that you did that, but let me throw something back at you the same way, because this is often, because I'm often on the opposite side. Even the audience gets into it where they're like, "Oh, she thinks this," like, "Oh, she loves EV." Oh, I can't say how many times I've said that. That's not a thing. That all I've ever said is that I want people to have options. But in this one, hey Ariel, but in this, for instance, this use case, yes, I think that we have to be alarmist about things, and we have to be realists, and we have to be idealists. But at the same time, there's a lot of other things happening in the industry right now that are actually putting us at threat. And so a program like this, and yes, is it going to change? Sure. Do I know if they're going to try to do direct to consumer sales? I have no idea. But as of right now, that's not the program. Right now, we should be concerned about the actual programs that are doing that. And so what I'm saying
Bobbie,
is, I think this is a topic worth having.
But Bobbie, if you were a dealer, right?
Yeah.
You should be concerned because this is a real possibility.
And I'm not saying don't be concerned.
Yeah,
what I'm
but
saying
this
is that's not the
program-
current program, is all I'm saying. You know, like I know BDC, my whole thing, but you know, I've participated in only over 35 buy sells in the last 5 years as an executive consultant for the dealership. I'm not small potatoes or small minded in some BDC room where I can teach phones. What I will tell you is that these are programs that I actually work with dealers on and sit in rooms with OEMs and with vendors and actually work with the onboarding and stuff. And this is one that I wasn't overly familiar with it being any different. I think we have cause for concern in here. I'm just saying it's not alarmist at that level right now. We're talking about the wrong things in the programs. If we really want to help the dealers, if we really are on the dealer side right now, if it's a lead program, our focus should be on data stealing. Our focus should be on data being taken
Bobbie,
from Amazon to there.
Bobbie, the Trojans were just overjoyed until the Greeks came out of the horse and killed their ass.
Imagine if we had GPS trackers on all of them. Like that's.
So let's talk about this from a lead perspective, because forever and ever, what Hyundai was doing to supplement their dealers with was Hyundai Smart Leads. And at that time, I did have Hyundai stores. And let's talk about what a Hyundai Smart Lead was. A Hyundai Smart Lead was a relabeled Delix purchase third-party lead. So will these leads be better than what that was? Yes. My concern right now in looking at how this program is functioning, and yes, direct to dealer or direct to consumer is a threat. We see it happening in Europe. We see things happening in Australia, that the OEM is making those moves. And so I do think that has to always constantly be on our radar. Do I think they'll be successful at it? No, because we've watched General Motors try to do it here in the States. We've watched Ford try to do it here in the States.
Ford tried terribly.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that $3 billion loss. Come on now.
But my concern, and yes, I did go through the full Hyundai USA quote, get my payments. The Amazon experience is a lot better, but I'm looking at 3 different payments right now between what it was on Amazon for the exact same car, what it was on Hyundai USA, and what it is on the dealer's website. It's just going to create even more, more distrust.
Slow down, re-explain that. Re-explain what you're doing.
So in real time, while we're talking about it, I went through the Amazon experience. And
you just went over there. Okay.
Right. I went over there. I configured my car. I got my payment, and it is a real VIN.
What did you configure?
I picked a 2024 Tucson and the lowest trim package, because that's what was pre-selected. Side note, maybe not the best option, Amazon. So I picked it.
They pre-selected the lowest trim package?
They pre-selected the lowest trim package, yes.
Dealer's going to love that.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And so, but I went through that process on Amazon, and it's Amazon Showroom, I guess is what it's being called. And then I went through it on the deal. I mean, of course, it clicks directly to that VIN on the dealer's website from Amazon, which gave me a $50 difference in the payment. Configured differently.
$50?
Was it higher? Higher.
And then I went ahead and did the same thing on HyundaiUSA.com. And I went through the process, of course. Hyundai USA, much more cumbersome, a lot more difficult to go through, but they don't pre-select the lowest trim package, at least. But they do have a $2,000 difference in the due at signings than what we're seeing on the dealer and Amazon. So I believe this is just going to create even more distrust.
They're more screwed up than a pile of coat hangers.
Yeah, I mean, and again, guys, this is just like if I was going to the CPO website that the OEM is hosting, or going to the OEM's website. It's just a little bit more consumer friendly, and the UX is better on Amazon than it is on the OEM's website. As dealers, we've known that the OEM websites have been atrocious for a long time. That's the reason they buy third-party leads and resell them to you, is because they can't convert the traffic. Amazon is good at converting the traffic, but my concern is what happens once we get that customer in the dealership. And if you can't control those touch points through, because this is something that Amazon and the OEM is doing, and I don't have a say in it as a dealer in how it's configured, like a lot of those platforms that the OEM dictates, then I'm left trying to clean up the mess with the customer. And that's my concern.
I'm with Woozy on this one. I want to just throw something out there as I'm listening to this. If you want to go to aboutamazon.com to their news page and look at the Amazon Hyundai partnership, you'll see that last year when this was announced, and it continues to be the subject focus of it. Here's an exact thing. Hyundai has selected Amazon Web Services, so also AWS, as its preferred cloud provider to accelerate its digital transformation using broad and industry-leading AWS capabilities. If you're unfamiliar, time to get familiar. as part of the
What is
multi-year
AWS?
agreement.
What is AWS? Explain.
Hold on. I'm going to tell you. So as a part of the multi-year agreement, Hyundai will become a more data-driven organization with a cloud-first technology strategy, migrating its current on-premises applications, which support everything from research, product engineering, and customer engagement to AWS. What is AWS? It's Amazon's data warehouse, data platform, data center. If what you're worried about as a dealer right now, as a Hyundai dealer, is direct-to-customer sales, and I'm going to laugh while everybody else is like, oh, Bobbie, you're a liberal, you're whatever, you're a fucking idiot. Because if you give your data to Amazon, what are you know why Hyundai is willing to do it? Because they don't care about you, the dealer. They care about the OEM, and they're competing in a market that they can't compete with. And whether you like it or not, it was brilliant for them to be the first one.
So they're stealing the dealer's data. Who said that a year ago?
It's been, this is like, and not only, they're not even stealing it. What they're doing is doing exactly what every vendor you hire to do your marketing right now is doing, but they're doing it on a scale that you can't do it on. See, the minute I went to Amazon and looked at a vehicle, as soon as Jennifer did that, and then she went to the OEM and it was front loaded, and then she went to the dealership, data. So is it a silo of I'm Bobbie Herron and here's my data? No, it's, you know what? I'm looking for everybody who was looking for that car, and now I have it.
Yeah.
So participate.
Auto intentions. Guess what ads I'm putting.
We're scared of the wrong thing here, guys. Like wrong things. Yeah, Herbert. Yeah. We're scared of the wrong thing. And not that it doesn't have a place in it, but there is such a bigger topic here, and they bank on the fact that the knowledge for that topic isn't often discussed and understood in automotive, and that conversations like this happen, and it's not on that. And where I would be afraid for dealer councils, dealer members, and NADA to not be involved would be if it looks like, and since I don't do political, I'll just throw this out here. If it looks like when Congress tried to understand how Facebook marketing worked 10 years ago. Better get a grip on it real quick, guys. This is not new technology. It's not, this isn't happening because of Hyundai. Happens every day. But for an OEM to partner with them and then for 18 dealers to go into a pilot program, I truly hope that a really good attorney went over the data agreements with you before you did it. Because that's the reason, as Herbert said earlier, why do we have cars.com? Why do we have all those? Because you gave them your data for SEO for a free feed 100 times instead of hiring somebody to make sure that you didn't do that. That's why. And that's where I would be afraid.
What have you discovered in the meantime over there, Jennifer?
I mean, I'm just confused, and I'm in the business. Imagine a general consumer. Like, am I paying $4,000 when I go pick up this car? Am I paying $1,900? Is my payment going to be $342 or is it going to be $388? I have no idea. And it's the exact same VIN number configured the exact same way. I mean, I think as far as the pilot goes, and like somebody had said, they will get there. It's technology. I mean, it's the same thing we dealt with when digital retailing first came out, trying to explain to a programmer what the difference is and how to calculate a lease payment versus a retail payment. That part will catch up. But right now, I mean, I just have the ick, and I shop on Amazon all the time. That's my yes, confusion is the goal. Someone made that comment. Yeah. Oh my goodness gracious. You guys are gonna bait me
This
into
is a fun show today.
Yeah. It is. No, it really, well, everybody's got a different thing. It really is. I actually really liked Max's perspective on it too. I am always afraid for dealers when it comes to their data, when it comes to their customer base, and when it comes to their marketing. I always am. And I'm a big advocate for it. It's always going to be the front runner for me for protecting them. And, every time.
I definitely think it's an issue. Side note, by the way, if Amazon and Hyundai are listening or watching on the replay, please fix your UTM tags. You're going to jack up the dealer's analytics based on what these things look like. It's not proper. And side note, it's March 20th, 2024. And guess what the CMPID says? PM reference 2021, October.
No, wait a minute. We'll say it again.
So in the UTM tags that are coming over, when I clicked over to the Suburban Hyundai of Troy website, hey, Suburban Hyundai of Troy, if you're listening, look at this traffic. It has clicked over showing the campaign ID in the UTM tag, CMPID, as PM _reference _2021 _October HMA Amazon Evolve Hyundai showroom, whatever. So, and I'm also, I mean, I'm not getting anything after the campaign ID, which is troubling. So I don't have, I mean, granted, there's a lot of data. It literally has down payment, 199, miles, 10, months, 36, like all the terms are in the campaign ID. Like, but except for it's coming to you from 3 years ago before the program existed.
So
No,
check your
wait.
analytics.
Yeah.
Check your analytics.
analytics.
They're going to be wrong.
Max, jump in here a second.
Listen, guys, at the end of the day, you know, I feel that all of us, all four of us, will be out of business if franchise dealers no longer exist.
Oh yeah.
Right. So I operate at the.
I mean, I work with independents too, Max. So
Me too.
Yeah, but listen, most independents. I don't know what the politically correct term is for brain dead. You know,
I was like, since when are you politically correct, Max? For
Right.
crying out
right.
loud.
So most independents are nothing to write home about. Right. So we need to be hypersensitive to any and every attack, whether it's masqueraded as Amazon or something else. Every attack on the franchise dealer model, right? And that's the key. And I think we should, ring the bell for the car dealers to understand what they're getting into.
Well, where's their dealer council? That's Andy Wright. Vinart Dealerships out of Pennsylvania is the head of the dealer council, and it sounds to me like he's the mayor on Jaws.
Right, but Jim, besides that guy, right? I think Jennifer mentioned that there are 18 dealers that joined the program.
The pilot program.
Right. So in my mind,
what are you thinking?
Right, these 18 dealers are either not thinking, or they have absentee ownership, or somebody is behind the wheel and they're completely asleep. And other Hyundai dealers need to pick up the phone and call these 18 dealers and say, WTF.
Well, my guess, Max, is
Why?
it's 100%
not WTF.
If it's just a lead program where the data is protected,
Bobbie,
what
we're
is
going in circles. It's just a lead program today, but it's not just a lead program in a year from today.
But what I guess where I get concerned in it is like the OEM has had lead programs for years that they do third party through. Right. This is if this is what it reads as of now. Again, like later this changes obviously. This is the same thing. The only difference is the
same thing, Bobbie, because you cannot compare a third-party lead provider with Amazon.
Yeah,
but you're talking about an 800-pound gorilla.
I hope everybody realizes this is why I refer to these two as two of the most brilliant women in the car business.
So here's the thing. Someone earlier, I think it was Amy, had mentioned, so it's basically just Costco. So the OEM is taking another company's brand recognition, like we see with Costco, or we see, and when we think about TrueCar and their USAA partnership they lost from years ago, right? It's a brand recognition. I trust Amazon more than I trust Hyundai. So as a consumer, so Hyundai, the OEM is playing off of that brand recognition, and Bobbie's right. They have done that.
As a consumer.
As for the consumer, correct, right? And so all those programs, I'm sure these 18 dealers, they're not paying a penny for it, all their data, and they're giving up their website, their own first-party website data too, in addition to all of it as a condition to participate.
Look at Herb Anderson's comment. Herb is a good friend of mine, ours. This is how it starts. Amazon is the disruptor of other industries. They do not care about the dealer nor the customer, in my opinion. They all care about what they can get for the price and not the whole pie.
Yeah, they're a private company. They don't have a dealer agreement. They're not a dealer franchise. They don't have a dealer agreement. She's absolutely right. But
But guys, also look at Amy's comment and says, see my comment about destroying my bookstores, then opening their own Amazon bookstore here. So just replace the word bookstore with a car dealership.
Yeah, I mean, we saw
Yes.
Tesla do it, right?
Replace the word bookstore for a car dealership. Oh my gosh. What a great observation, Max.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not the most brilliant woman. I'm not the most brilliant woman in automotive, but among
your
men,
skin does look great today,
in automotive, I'm up there.
You could talk to Bruce Jenner about how to do that.
The thing about it is that like anything else in our industry that we discuss, there are many layers and moving parts to this. My opinion on this being a lead generating service, and you should fear your data and you should be more involved in your own marketing, does not override or outweigh or undervaluate your opinion on what they should be fearful of, because we're all working towards the same goal. There are different layers of what there should be alarmism for. There are different layers of what people should be focused on. And at the end of the day, I suggest this with dealers too, is lean on the experts that know this and not the ones that don't. For example, don't make agreements with marketing companies without having either a consultant or an internal person who knows how to actually look at the data, the contracts, and the marketing companies. Don't look at participating in programs because the OEM has enforced it without using your voice or calling the correct person to be able to fight for you on it. These are all important factors, but just in case everybody thinks this is new before Hyundai, Amazon has tried and failed several times to offer dealer lead services.
Yeah.
This is not new news. Like this is, it's not.
I mean, even with the Amazon auto ad platform, that's currently, again, but I do think that this can be foreshadowing, and there are a lot of attacks currently on the franchise system. We've seen it with Tesla. We've seen it with what's going on in Europe and Australia. There is an attack. So I don't think that it's alarmist for this to make the hairs on the back of your neck stand up. I do think this can be foreshadowing for one more attack on the franchise system. And even though I do work with independent stores, it is the primary source of income for my family is franchise stores. And so that does create, but we will know, if you don't already know, Jenna is a prepper. So that is a thing, but admitting it online right now, it's recorded. So.
Oh, I'm a prepper.
I know. Remember, you picked up your last assault rifle after I told you about mine.
I bought my last assault rifle after seeing the same model that she has.
I was showing it off on a Zoom.
How do you feel about this conversation? Assault rifle?
I feel fine about this conversation. My best friend has an arsenal, and my bonus dad does too. And you're from Russia. I mean, come on. But
I'm a bonus dad. Matter of fact, it's the Russians we're doing it because of.
Where I don't think it lives in certain things is I think that you alienate a portion of your audience when you discuss things that are offensive to other people, and I'm not in control of what offends them. So that's where I always have a problem with those where we have these kind of conversations, is to say, let's not do that.
I'm really, if you're offended by this broadcast, turn the damn channel.
Right.
I don't think that's not my intention is what I'm saying, but it's a good thing that I am strong enough, because I've watched some little snowflakes run away crying when I say shit they don't like, but here I am still on the show 3 years later dealing with this nonsense every once in a while. So must be, I got something going right for me. I do want to leave everybody with something though, because I do feel very strongly about the data portion of this, and I don't want it to get passed over because we're joking around, is that I would really like for dealers to also, in addition to the direct to sale stuff and looking at the data, to really put some concern into the fact that Hyundai just made a major agreement with AWS for data sharing and for building together. They're about to have a leg up. Whatever the agreement was they made, obviously I'm not privy to it. It wasn't an unintelligent agreement by the franchises part or by the OEM part. Obviously it is for the dealers. Amazon is a profit-based company.
You're hearing it from Bobbie.
Yeah. Look, if you guys would get your marketing together, you wouldn't have to be as concerned about this in a lot of the for instances. And this technology already
hire Bobbie, hire Jennifer.
Or, I mean, yeah, please do so I can help you. But also just get educated on it and stop making decisions on things.
Phone numbers on the screen. Hire these women.
And side note, I'm actually looking at the source code. So the back end of the web page, I'm looking at that. I clicked over from the Amazon platform, and the script they're using is antiquated. I'm not really impressed. It's an old JavaScript. That's odd.
That's what you
JavaScript.
get when you outsource to India.
It's her nerdy side.
We ran out of time, guys. Say goodbye to the audience.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.